Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, let's talk about one of my favorite subjects. Something I've always been very interested in and have not really applied it properly. It's like so many other things. I mean, it's very difficult when you're busy. There's so many areas of alternative study. But I've always been fascinated by color. Color therapy, chromos therapy, as it's called now. And of course, the leader in this field for many, many years was Dimshaw. Dimshaw put together the spectrogram, whatever, a particular type of, basically, it was just a metal box with a strong bulb in it that then shone through particular colors. Now, you then would mix the colors to get a particular vibration and shine that on the body, and it claimed to do amazing things. And of course, like all amazing stuff, he was persecuted, brought to court, and we never really know what the fact of any of this stuff is. It's hard to believe that, you just put some colors on you, and this cures things. But apparently there was an awful lot of people that got cures. And as the case with most of these things, there's also lots of people that didn't. As is the mysterious case of Ruth Drown, who has horrific evidence against her, yet there's hundreds that state that she helped and she was in practice for 30, 40 years. How do you stay in practice if you're a failure? Of course, it was not the time of the internet, so we just don't know. It's very, very mysterious as we get it. But I've always been fascinated by colors. I don't know what this comes. I think as kids, we're kind of fascinated as we're given crayons of multiple colors. I mean, sometimes I had a giant pack of crayons. I probably bought it for myself, but which I think had 75 different colors in it. You get that big, giant box of crayons. Most people probably had 20 or so. And I think this is where the fascination starts. But the actual colors, which are basically frequencies, what you see in a color is what not is reflected. So, if it is not reflected, which is what most, when you look at something, most of the colors are reflected off of it except for the one. So if we look at this green, it's green because that's the color that's not reflected off of it. To kind of put it in simplistic terms, these are also considered frequencies. So a certain frequency will produce a certain color. Very, very interesting. So color therapy certainly isn't anything new. It's been around for years. There's, Orasoma or something like that, which are colored oils that you rub on your skin. And of course, because they're colored, that colored energy in the oil then is transferred into you. Very fascinating. And as with all this stuff, we really don't know what the truth is or what works or not. So, there's a lot of bad information out there with this. And of course, there are many color masters. Oh man, here we go again with a bad memory. A fantastic guy has written several books on this. A British man who has died in the last 5 or 10 years really wrote some fantastic books out there. And of course, I can't recall them right now. I'll probably do a review on those books in the near future. But the one thing nice about color therapy is, again, we need things that are very passive and easy to do. So what do you do with color? Well, it's very simple. You wear it, you have it projected on you, and when you're sick, you don't have the capacity to take care of yourself. So you will do nothing to the point of dying from a disease if you're sick. You just don't have the motivation, the energy, and quite frankly, it almost seems to be some sort of demonic element that wants you to die. This is how all illness works. And when I hear people who talk about, well, you got to participate in your own healing. Well, yes, you do. But you got to remember that all these people need assistance. They need nurses. That's what life is all about. And to think that a crippled person can climb a mountain is the absurdity of all absurdities and has to be scorned as a thought. So, as in some relationships that usually don't last, but in general, relationships are about one partner giving much more than the other at specific times. So, if you are having a problem, your partner is supposed to give 200%, 150%, giving everything they possibly can. And they may not be giving even a tiny percent. That's how relationships go, and it's supposed to be back and forth. Generally, it isn't back and forth, so one person has to take care of the other much more. This causes relationships to falter and be destroyed. So we have to understand all that as we move into these realities that go with it. So anything that can be passive and that's easy is going to be something that's going to be the most effective. Whether it's inserting a particular energy disk in a machine that projects the energy to the target, whether it's sitting in front of a colored light, or what we have right here, which I've been working and experimenting with these right now. And that is simply wearing colored glasses. These are just plastic glasses. You can find these online. I do not sell these, but you can find these online. I got a whole set here. How many is there? There's 4, 5, 6 colors here. And these are shockingly expensive usually. For something as simple as this that probably costs 20 cents to make, but these are specialty. They are made fairly well. They seem to fit on your face well. I wear these all the time or frequently and have enjoyed the process, and it's a little bit odd. Now, I have one of these new Spectracombs by Dimshaw, who just happened to pop up in my country that I'm living in now, online in perfect order, with all the different colors, more color plates than I've ever seen before, glass color plates, which are supposed to be the better ones, and this kind of machine that you position. I will be showing the Spectrochrome unit made by Dimshaw, the famous person in color therapy who was persecuted, who had a company in New Jersey, and there is still something left there, but I'm not sure if they're very operative. They're not selling equipment, but they're still selling. The grandson, I don't know who it would be, is selling, supposedly selling books and stuff from Dimshaw himself. Darius Dimshaw. There's a Dimshaw Darius. Who knows? This was an Indian guy who came to the United States and found out and built these color machines and was selling them all around the country. And of course, this is what happens when these things go out there, is that he was then persecuted by the authorities and put out of business, and his machines were destroyed. He was unable to cross lines with them, meaning state lines, because the federal law kicked in. So this is very common. He was taken to court, and he had a lot of people testify for him and a lot of people testify against him, the usual things. And we just don't know the truth of any of this. Certainly, if you're a person who believes in frequencies, rife frequencies, frequency machines, all the things that a lot of people like to scream about, and they love to use that term frequency because the color of something is a frequency. So when you have a laser that is red, it's a particular frequency. When you have one that is green, it's another frequency that creates that color. To put it in very simplistic terms. So if you believe in frequencies, then the use of color should be something that is very potent to you. The other thing is that, so it goes with the Hazel Parcell, she was supposedly using actual color plates. And we will demonstrate some of this in the future, but she was using actual glass plates, which are supposed to be better. Maybe. The Dimshaw organization states you don't need a giant machine with a giant bulb, a 1,000-watt bulb that was in the original Dimshaw machines. And of course, back then it would cost you a nickel to run it all day. Today it probably cost you $500 for a 1,000-watt bulb to run for hours and hours, creating huge amounts of heat. And you had to then, and we'll show you those machines in the future, which had to then be cooled. But without all that going into that, there is a great confusion of whether LED, which we have great multicolored lights now that are LED, light emitting diodes, are the same as so many other things, as shining through glass. And we're talking about real glass, not plastic or plastic-like. But Dim Shaw's organization tells you how to make a color projector using standard, what are called theatrical color gels, which are nothing more than plastic, and using a low wattage bulb. They claim that this works just as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't particularly like that. I'm not a real fan of plastic, but of course, these are plastic as well. These are plastic. You're looking through plastic. Does that hurt it? Does that make it worse? Do they work slower? Do they work better? Because you're controlling, when you put plastic in something like this, you are controlling the color much better, creating a particular type of frequency. Comprende, Joe? So the whole idea is that these people screaming around about frequencies don't want to sell you expensive stuff when you could basically get a set of glasses like this and potentially repeat it. Now, when you use a particular light projector or color projector, you are then shining that energy on your physical body. This has its pros and cons. Needless to say, it's difficult to do because you have to have like a projector. A prime example of people that may know things, I don't know if people know what these are anymore, slide type projectors. Ooh, what's that? Da, da, da? Well, I don't know if anybody understands it, but basically it's a, which would be a plastic film with a big light behind it in a little box, and it would project it. You could say, well, I guess people would understand it better that movie projectors are a type of projector, and what they're projecting is an entire piece of film that has multicolors in it. Now, if you used a movie projector and you just projected a single color, that's what a color projector would be. So hopefully that's clear to everybody. I've been doing this for 50 years now, so all these things are kind of old hat to me, but a lot of people don't understand this. So these are plastic lenses that you put on your face and you look through them. Now, I use these all the time. It's difficult to, like all these things, how do you judge the effectiveness of it? Now, here's something that everybody should wear, and what we commonly see is red. Well, red is very good for the liver, and it cures your liver out, cleans your liver out. Well, that's something we all could use. Everybody needs to watch the liver, and don't wait until you're in trouble when you're 50. Do it when you're 20. The other thing that we have all problems with, and this is orange, is our kidneys. We're now having a pandemic of kidney stones that children have. Oh, God, does it never end? The poison of our environment and the crap that we're forced into never, ever ends. And, of course, these colors also trigger particular chakras, and chakras move the energy around you as well. So, all you do with these, and it is a little weird. Now, I started off finding it a little bit troubling wearing these orange glasses for my kidneys. When I first put these on, I kind of found it unsettling and a little weird. Now, first of all, I generally wear glasses, and when you wear these, you look at the world through an orange reality. Now, if you're walking around and other things, this can be a little bit unsettling at first, and I did find it difficult and a little bizarre initially. But after I wore these for a while, I got over the strangeness of the orange color and was able to function by walking around easily. So it's like everything else in life, you get accustomed to it when you start doing it frequently. And of course, that's everything in life. Make it a habit, and you get the results you need from it. So by actually having the actual colors go into your eyes, this goes through your entire system, which may even be superior to actually shining it on your body. Now, we just don't know if the eyes are enough. The eyes are amazing and take in all sorts of energies. But is it better than or similar to shining it on your entire body, which has numerous energetic fields in it, where it can take that energy in? So, again, all of this is pretty much unknown. A lot of color therapy is even using it acupuncture-wise. So you get a color light, and I have these as well. And I'll be demonstrating all this stuff in the future, but Chromotherapy will take a color and then put in a particular acupuncture meridian, and that color will stimulate the meridian, and then you will get better effects than just using needles as well. So these are all the things that have been around for a long time and seem to be kind of missing in the reality of what we know about it, like everything else. There's gossip from people that actually use this stuff or sell it, of how wonderful it is. How well does it work? Well, I'm afraid we just don't know, and seems to be little interest in proving it. And of course, like everything in the world, if you want to do proper research, it tends to be expensive. Good researchers don't work for minimum wage. They want hundreds of thousands of dollars. Good research has to be done over time. It has to be careful. You have to use subjects. It's quite a process to do even the most simplest research. And it requires months or even years with hundreds, if not thousands, of people to work through your system to prove it. So, and this goes with everything and why research even we have today, how credible is it? I recently heard of a study that was done for 2 weeks with the supplement. What? Well, that's good enough to wipe your bottom on, Dr. Thor. It would clean me well and we could flush it. Well, that's right, because that's all a study like that is good for. You're going to learn nothing from that except very surface information. You got to wonder what the motivation of doing that is and who sponsored such stupidity as that. So I'm not sure that helps anybody, and if you agree with the study, it's valueless. If you don't agree with it, it certainly has no importance when you have this kind of thing done by a lot of very bogus, corrupt, idiot scientists. So the whole idea is we have to really understand that in the bigger picture. So Dim Shaw, who wrote many, many books and kept huge amounts of journals and magazines, I'm slowly collecting this stuff now. I had it in the past, and I still have some of it today, but he kept a lot of information and was in business for many, many years, I think 20, 30 years. And he had magazines that he published, information, how to do all this stuff. So he did an awful lot of research in this area and compiled his results. Now, this is very rare. You can't find that. There are people selling $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 radionic instruments that basically have no history on them whatsoever. And they've been selling these things for 30 or 40 years now. Where's the beef? Essie Farm and Kelly Monkish? Where is your crap? You have nothing to show for it. So the whole idea is Dim Shaw, on the other hand, had it. Reams of information. I'm going to try and collect all of it over the next few months. So I have this stuff in our library. And of course, all access members and Patreon members will be able to access our library so they can see this stuff as part of their membership. So the whole idea is that we have to understand that. So what are the effects of these things? So does wearing these red glasses, is this going to stimulate your liver meridian and help clean it out? Keep it functioning properly? Huh? No, that's the correct answer. Huh? Well, we don't really know. And it gets back to all these frequencies that people pump in their body. There are hundreds of these frequency machines, these zappers, all these things out there. Does it work or not? Well, unfortunately, the research we do have on the zapper by Hulda Clark, the chiropractic who eventually relocated to San Diego and Tijuana to do her practice, died at 71 or 73 from cancer. Wrote 2 giant books, The Cure for All Cancer, going into the parasitical nature of them and the frequencies that would kill them. Unfortunately, it didn't work. When people are using this today, just like they're using toxic and stupid orgone to think that this actually does something in the primitive form that it is used today, not in the sophisticated form that Wilhelm Reich used it in his day. So using it with a goofball way, and orgonite, which comes from a well-known Satanist, Karl Weltz, who produced nothing but toxic stuff and died not even reaching the common age, and his wife died at only 71. Ooh, Orgonite is so powerful. To kill you. So the whole idea is we have to look at all these things to understand the reality of it. Certainly, this is about as easy as it gets. And since there is no will from the public to support organizations that research this stuff, to the point, it wouldn't take very much to research this stuff and get some good data. I'm sure lots of people would be willing to participate for free. They'd get their pair of glasses, and we could track people with certain conditions. But there is no will. People support and watch bogus liars and cheats, and people that basically give them fake answers to something they have no answers to. So color therapy is very fascinating. So you can use it as acupuncture, put it on a meridian, put it on a particular reflexology point, send the color into there, and all these things are supposed to stimulate your meridians to high levels and create high states of healing. You project it on your body, as I've mentioned, through a projector, similar to, you could do this with any projector, by the way. Parcells used to use just the glass, colored, and she would use this on top of things and claimed amazing results. And I've heard a lot of amazing results using this very simplistic form, but it sounds to me to be a bit ridiculous. The Parcells system is shrouded in mysticism, really a bunch of nonsense talk that really hasn't been proven too well, and certainly is not being repeatable at this time of getting great results from. Certainly is interesting, and it's a good start for anybody who is just starting in nutrition and health understanding to understand so many things. But certainly, if this works so well, why do anything else? If you can basically, quote, cure yourself using colors, why bother using supplements or anything else? So it's the problem is none of this stuff adds up from a serious researcher like myself who's been doing this for 55 years. Very, very important, and no one else has that kind of experience, and they're all basically whores, delusional people that live in comic book land, believing in silly gods and so many other things. Not little old Dr. Thor, who is the only credible source of information out there. Everybody else just doesn't get it, apparently. I just can't find anybody that even has the slightest understanding of what's going on out there, and they're misleading you something fierce. So getting back to that, I will talk about the other books which have these particular colors in them and what's gone on. As I said, there's a couple of people who have done fantastic research in this area. There were little schools in England that taught this for a while. I will see if they're still operating. But I mean, it's just as simple as that. If you have a particular problem or you want to stimulate a particular chakra, you get that color. As I mentioned, red, liver. Orange is for kidneys. This is for chakras. Purple, of course, like this, is great for the crown chakra, your highest level. So these are all the type of things that you want to stimulate. The solar plex chakra with yellow. And of course, and what do? Well, I guess you could take these glasses and use a light behind them, a flashlight or even a laser like we offer, shine through these onto a particular meridian or place of your body, and that would transfer the color from there into it. But or you could use a regular, just strong flashlight. So many flashlights today are very powerful. You could use a flashlight like this, hold the lens up to a particular part of the body, and then use a flashlight, a regular white type light, and shoot the vibrational energy into a chakra, a body part, etc. So if you were having liver problems, you could hold this up against your liver, and then behind it, just use a flashlight to shoot that energy. So the flashlight would be coming from this side and would be shooting into where your physical liver is. Doesn't have to be the meridian. It could just be right into the liver. And we can see if that makes any kind of changes. But that's how easy it is. The other way to do it is to find what you want to stimulate. Let's say you want to open your chakras, your third eye, etc. Well, you would pick the appropriate color, and you would just wear this while you're walking around. You can wear it in your house. Maybe you're walking around a store. That's what I just did recently. Or you're walking someplace in general. No matter what may be. Maybe you're walking your dog. Maybe you're just walking in the park. Maybe you're just lost in the city looking for monkeys. So the whole idea is you could just wear these at that time. So, and that's doing it. So, now your eyes tend to take in huge amounts of energy, and these energies are then projected out through your entire body. So the eyes are very underestimated and misunderstood. Yes, they serve this purpose of seeing things, but they're also taking that energy and bringing it throughout your entire body. There has been a lot of thought to, and there has been some verification that you can empower your entire body by looking at the sun at a very particular time of day before it's too bright for very short periods of time, and this is supposed to energize your entire body, stopping you from having to eat. Now, this is not something I recommend and something I not recommend because we just don't know anything about it, and looking at the sun, even at its very short period of time where it is not too dangerous directly, could be dangerous. So it's a practice we're unassured of. People claim that there's a whole books on this of energizing it and how to do this. But again, does any of it work? So we just don't know. There's supposed to be documentation in India, but all this stuff, particularly coming from India and these third world mystical countries, it's very hard to believe anybody. I don't know if they're corrupt, but they certainly could be. But certainly their mysticism is a little bit too strong. And of course it makes them famous, their town famous, that they hosted a person who didn't eat anything but survived by just looking at the sun. I don't know. I don't believe that. There are a combination of doing this with breathnarians, which is somehow taking energy out of the air, prana, etc. Now, all these things do work to a degree, and there are certain high-level, quote, yogis, if we can believe that. Can we believe yogis? I don't think so. But if you give me your wallet and your wife, I will show you the great, great ways to wisdom. If your wallet's big enough and your wife is good. So the whole idea is that these are the kind of things you usually run into in the farcical India, which is such a mishmash of crap that has more cell phones than toilets. So the whole idea is that we have to be really careful of the reality that's out there and what is good or not. That doesn't say that the Indian systems are worthless. Certainly they have some great breathing techniques and other ones of meditation that certainly have their pros as well as their cons. Well, this is the kind of stuff that we all have to deal with. So we need to understand this. So color therapy is fascinating. You could also take something like this of a particular color, and you could lay this on your witness plate on your radionic machines. So this is lots of ways to use color. Well, that may scratch it up a little, but if you're careful, you could actually take something like this, and let's say you wanted to project energy at your liver. You could dial things in. Put your photograph here. Where's my photograph? It has disappeared. Oh, here it is. Now, a certain amount of the energy is going to be picked up by just putting it on the in plate and the out plate, where you're going to be sending that energy. Of course, you would tune in the results you want. And this is ways of using colors. And of course, a lot of people had lamps over the top, and this doesn't have to be lasers, just white light shining down through this, which will go into your machine and then out here, sending that energy in a soul force energy pattern to that particular person. So there's many ways of doing that. There's also ways of getting colored discs and other things. You could get little pieces of glass. There is a manufacturer that offers little round circles. These are plastic again. Now, again, the general thought is don't use plastic. I don't particularly like plastic. I'm not sure how I would think glass would be better, but we have to be careful with the condemnation of plastic, which I have done for years. Certainly, don't eat it. Don't rub your food on it. Don't do that. On the other hand, if you're using it as a vibrational energy form, plastic is not artificial. What? No, plastic is not artificial. Plastic is carbon. It's solid oil. Oil is carbon. So it's not as demonic as we think it is when it's used in the right way. Again, don't rub your food on it. Don't eat it. You don't want to ingest it. But the energy coming from it is not necessarily that negative. So the thought has always been is that you want to use, quote, I think the term is cathedral glass or pure glass. Now, I'm not sure what they mix in glass to give it that colors or not, which may not be as pure as we think it is. Usually most ancient glass was lead glass, and you want to project the color through lead? Is lead better than plastic? I don't know. You're not supposed to touch the leady. Well, that's right, dumb guy. So the whole idea is we just don't know of what pure glass is. So lead in general is very toxic and nobody wants to handle or use it in any way whatsoever. So it used to be in all paints because it was a filler and it was able to make colors, I guess. There's a whole chemistry to lead that helps in the coloring agents. So it was in a lot of paints. And of course, when people handle these paints, there's a problem. And if they're painted in your house, you have lead surrounding you. Charming, Dr. Doe. You make a lead building you live in? Sounds like orgone to me. Well, dumb guy, orgone is probably worse than lead. But that's another subject. So the whole idea is we have to keep all these things in mind of what color therapy is. But here's a great way. As I said, you could find these on pretty much on Amazon, eBay, all the big monkey sites. You can find these things and do check your prices. They do vary dramatically. They are just plastic. These say biotech on them. UV 400 protection. Apparently they block out ultraviolet. Fabra Therapy Brillen, which is, of course, German for color therapy glasses. So these seem to be pretty good. I don't know if there's different manufacturers or not. They are plastic. You have to be a little careful with them. They do seem to fit on your face and on your nose and walk around with. Stable. They don't seem to fall off easily. So they seem to be pretty good. And of course, they are expensive. These little things that probably cost 50 cents to make usually are anywhere from $10 to $25 each. So we just don't know. And as I said, you can use these in different fashions. If you want to send a particular color, you could, as I said, even you can use it on your radionic machine, but you can also take a picture like this and just put it here. And then it would be nice to use some sort of flashlight, even temporarily, to shoot the energy from here into the Polaroid picture. Even laying it on top like this will be a way of it vibrating slowly into it. But remember, these are subtle effects. And we all want big effects. We want soul force effects. We don't want subtle energy effects. You could put these even on your tube 8 hertz generator. This will then pick up some of that energy and it will broadcast that in your environment. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this, and I'm not sure people understand all these things. Not only can you put your picture here, which I usually leave it here, but you could put your glasses on. So there's lots of things you can do with these, lots of ways of using them. It's just like using a color particular strip. And we are going to have these little color round squares as well that are plastic that many people have used in chromotherapy. That's a term for color therapy. The Spectrochrome by Dimshaw was an actual device. And we are planning on actually trying to make a color therapy little unit that I have talked about making for many years, which will probably be being made by me in the next year or two, which will have a little projector, and you'll be able to do that. And we are looking for, glass filters, color filters as well. Here's an 8 hertz generator that we sell. Well, you can put your picture on here to send 8 hertz to you. That's the classic way. And you could then take this and add that extra energy to it. So the 8 hertz is going to fill your environment with 8 hertz blended with this frequency. And you have your picture on here to send it to you or whoever's in your locale. And of course, you need the proper broadcasting and activation discs that are part of our system. Very important. All these tools are kind of primitive. They become sophisticated and powerful when you're using our energy discs. So it's fun, it's exciting, it's the new thing, babe. Get on the team, be part of the in generation, get your color therapy. So as I said, you can watch for these, go on the different usual places to look for them. We are probably going to be coming out with different color therapy products in the future, or things you can add right into many of the systems we offer. And we're going to work on that. We are going to probably have discs like this that are actually color. I'm not sure you need to have actual glass. Why not just have good color? So we're going to be adding those type of things in as well for people to experiment with and empower. And of course, you could use the typical, as we're doing now, you can put your photograph here, put your Tesla watch, pumping out that 7.8 hertz, and you can blend into it by doing this. I mean, I don't know how creative people are, but I like simple, easy stuff. Put your watch, your color thing on there. Now you're sending that color and the 8 hertz frequency into your photograph, or for that matter, helping a relative, a sick friend, whatever it may be, you certainly can do that and be part of the in generation, dude. The point is that you're going to be the smart, intelligent one, and don't think that things like this don't have some massive impacts in the long run. It's always difficult to see instant results that are very verifiable, but certainly the subtle energy effects of these things are very potent. So let's keep it all very understood here, the amazing areas. Here you can get a whole little set. I think there are some that have 8. This is a six colors, but certainly something that I love to use because it's so damn easy. Just put them on, have a need that day, feel depressed, put on the antidepressant colors, the yellows. You want to clean your liver out, you want to clean your kid, just wear those glasses. Wear them walking, wear them taking the dog for a walk, wear them wherever you're going, to the supermarket or whatever. Wear them, and you can probably fit them over your own glasses or just wear them on their own and get the effects. Can't get any easier. Hope you've enjoyed. Until next time.